My name is Tiye, and I'm a graduate student mastering in social work. My signature pathway is diversity and inclusion. I chose this pathway based on my personal experience and my passion for helping others. In addition, I do not like or stand for erasure culture. Diversity is unique and deserves to be celebrated. I started my social work journey in 2016. I was accepted into the program. I have always been pushed to help others no matter what it takes. This is where my interest in learning about others besides myself and their culture began. 2016 was also the year I was introduced into another type of social work, macro social work. Macro social work is geared towards the community, community building, restoring, and organizing. I wanted to create a bigger impact on a community scale. Before I thought it was all about politics and policy, but it's much more greater than that. I never really had an interest based on my presumption. As I continued my undergraduate journey, macro began to interest me more and more. In macro work, there's an opportunity to make a difference. I learned about Cesar Chavez, Angela Davis, the Black Panthers, and others. And I have read about their community contributions. And then dawned on me, this is social work too. They work to help others and do it much better than themselves. The dedication and commitment to the community was relentless and beautiful. Immediately, I wanted to do the same for people. If I'm ever going to help others, why not do it on a bigger scale? Here is where my interest sparked for community work and healing. Healing, too, is also important and good to keep at the forefront of my mind as a social worker. In order to help and want to heal and restore, I want to help and not tear down and cause harm. I have been interested in helping others since high school. It was not until college when my passion was cemented. More specifically, I'm passionate about helping others that have been neglected, underserved, oppressed, and forgotten about. I am doing this for my ancestors who could not. I have always felt that my purpose is to help others and create change. Bring those up who have always been torn down. It is rewarding to help folks that deserve it and restore the hope that has been lost. With social work being a detrimental field to those who have been oppressed, I wanted to work to change that. I wanted to work to build that trust again. Many times in underserved communities, the trust has been broken. We as social workers have caused harm and trauma too. Overall, our view of social work is negative due to historical trauma and grief caused by social work or social workers itself. I can empathize and understand why. I empathize with them and I stand in solidarity with them as well. I've been there too as a Black cisgender woman. Having this understanding and empathy and compassion, I needed to put this passion into action. Now let it continue. It's time for a progressive change. This summer, I worked on a proposal that explores the potential gaps in outreach and recruitment as it relates to race and ethnicity, specific here to Western. I attempted to discover any barriers or any accessibility issues when it comes to marginalized communities. I wanted to know how difficult it must be for first generation families, Black, queer, Latino, non binary, trans folks, Indigenous, and many others, or if they're interested at all in social work. The goal is to reach and communicate with their families as well and educate them about the social work profession beyond CPS. Having them connected and educated on social work will make them more susceptible to apply and create a different perspective of social workers. This is just a step in building that trust. Also, by going to communities that are underserved can make an impact and start the progressive change process. This is also an act of care. The WMU Social Work Department cares about these communities, and we are willing to go out there and demonstrate this. Image is everything, and so is action. Performative acts cannot be tolerated or presented in this implementation of the proposal. When someone sees someone that looks like them in the field, they'll be more likely to learn about it and believe they can do it as well. Bridging these gaps and reaching people is what this proposal is all about. Burning barriers and creating equity and accessibility for those that need it. This proposal ties to my peak, including everyone that stretches beyond the classroom, outside of academia working, in these communities with these groups have broadened my horizons. It allows me to learn more. When I'm aware of what's going on for them, I can be an ally, an advocate, and an educator. This has also fueled my passion for diversity and inclusion. Peak has allowed me to combine my passion and my academic experience, which I'm forever grateful. I was able to go to beyond the classroom and beyond my college experience. Not too many of my colleagues have a community experience where they're able to apply their passion to their academic experience. Also, I've taken cultural competency classes. I have joined the Diversity Inclusion Board, Admissions Board, and the Black Graduate Student Association. Even outside of school, I've been community organizations as well. Most of my work is done through reading and volunteering my time. Being able to integrate my passion in my academic journey and in my community have been a humbling experience. I have learned more about the history of Kalamazoo and their history on how they have affected marginalized communities. I have learned more about the importance of community for my people. But like most of these organizations, some people will have not adequate resources. I have never thought about this or thought it was possible until I started my WM signature. This peak experience has been enlightening and extraordinary. I have made my mark here and in this community. I have become more aware of my injustices and barriers to work and use my platform for good. By working through these different organizations and working to remove these barriers, more specifically, working to remove the gaps that are present here at WMU, speaking up where there are justices spoken or done, and making sure things are in line with our principles and rights of others. As far as in the community, supporting underserved communities by working with food programs, clothing programs, safety, and environmental justice organizations. It has opened my eyes to my own privileges and other oppressive parts that need to be uprooted. I am learning to not only learn these dangerous practices, but to hold myself accountable in the process. Decolonization work is important in this work. Knowing your biases and where they come from help you to understand others and to be a better person. For me, it helps me to understand what others are going through and suffering with on a daily basis. It makes me kinder and respectful towards others. Being inclusive of others makes people feel recognized, acknowledged, and human. So be open-minded, and it makes others feel seen and heard. As a social worker, it is crucial and important to be open and non-judgmental. I'm elated to have had this experience and that this pathway was an option for me. It fits my beliefs and what I'm working towards making that change. I'm excited to continue this lifelong journey in my career.